likewise on the space station side, Lucia McCullough headed up that team, and that team equally professional and prepared us extremely well. So Joaquin and Lucia and all your teams, thank you very much. Finally, I want to thank our families who are here today, and every crew member will have a chance to address his own family, but my wife Kelly, my oldest daughter Jamie, my son Matt, and my youngest daughter Mari. We appreciate all your support, as we appreciate this, as I personally appreciate the support of all the family members for the support you've given your crew members. So thank you very much. And last, we were in space knowing our families were well taken care of by the family support staff here at NASA, and that was headed by Miss Beth Turner and assisted by Brenda Cabinet. So thank you to those two ladies. I'm going to pass the mic over now, and each crew member is going to have an opportunity to address a few other organizations that really were key parts of our entire mission. And these thanks go out on behalf of the whole crew to these support organizations. So, Tony Antonelli.
Thanks, Brew. Let's see. I had one on my list, or I had one come up while I was sitting up here that wasn't on my list, and Brew went down and the line here, and Mike Coates talked a little bit about Brew. Brew is proud of his team, but you only get there with a good leader. I think Coach just said that, but appreciate it, boss. You did a great job. Fantastic work. This is, of course, my first one of these up here. I've done a few more on the other side of the rope, so I think I understand what it's like being on that side of the rope. Here on this side with the microphone, it's a little bit different. Brew thanked the flight directors and their team, and they run a pretty big team. Part of it you see on TV when they film Mission Control. They also have a bunch of other folks that work behind the scenes that you don't see on the TV that they run that. Every one of those people have a critical job and do great work, but one of them has a microphone that talks to space, and if you ever pick up a microphone, you'll realize that every single thing you say, there are people in the audience that are going to criticize it. So you got to be very careful. But we had those folks that have the microphone that talk to space that work for the flight directors are our CAPCOMs, our capsule communicators, and we had a great team of CAPCOMs headed up by Rick Davis for the whole STS-119 15A mission, and he just did a fantastic job taking care of that team and running that program. The other group of folks I wanted to thank sound like a very small team until you start thinking about it, and that's our rendezvous team. It starts off with one instructor training Brew and John and I how to rendezvous the space shuttle and also undock and separate. We have one flight controller in the front room, again working for the flight director and mission control, but it's actually a much bigger team than just those two folks. It expands to all the loads that go into the station stack every time we bring up another piece, especially a big piece like a solar array wing. So there's whole teams of folks that work on that you don't see on TV or up here on stage. They work the electrical issues and the cooling, the thermal issues, and that ends up being a huge team. We're one small part of that team, and what it enables us to do is back away from the space station and have Ricky and Swanee and Sandy take great pictures of all that work. So thanks to the big rendezvous team, not the little one. And then, of course, most important to me personally is my family. Luckily, one of them's out, so he doesn't have to sit up here and listen to this long, drawn-out speech, but the other one's wide awake. So thanks to Michael and Danny and Janine. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Again, it's definitely a team effort, and I have the honor to thank our shuttle robotic team, and including Steve Riley, all the flight control team, and our instructors. And I don't think the shuttle arm gets quite the glory that it deserves. We didn't put the truss on there, but it was definitely a dance to get it out of the shuttle bay and hand it over to John to do some good work over there. And they made it easy for us, and we appreciate all the help that they gave us. Secondly, I was given the honor to thank one person in particular, and she's standing over to our left, Nuria Aguilar. She's over there. And Nuria is our crew secretary, and we just cannot say enough about her. I believe we were her first crew, hopefully not her last, but she handled it like a veteran, took great care of us, and if you know us, it was no easy task to keep us corralled and on track. Nuria, we couldn't have done it without you. All the families that came out to the launch, they all interacted with Nuria, and she just did a fantastic job. And finally, I'd like to thank my family I have here, my mom, my dad, and my grandmother. They've just been fantastic for me, and can't wait to get home for the pollo guisado.
I'm assuming this is working. Good. Thanks, Joe. It's my pleasure to thank the EVA team. It takes a large group of people to accomplish 3 EVAs like we did on this mission. And it starts off with the engineers who design and work on the hardware all the way through to us actually doing it. And it's a wonderful option for thrill for me to be able to thank these people. And it takes a great group of people, of course, to have the 3 great EVAs we did. I do have one aside, though, I'd like to mention here, is that I heard a rumor out there that Quichi has paid us 3 off to have a trouble with the UCAS so he could get an EVA out of this. I'd like to say that is not true. It did not happen. But just in case anybody, comes across the fact that we have 3 new Japanese sports cars in our driveways in a month or 2, there's no coincidence to that at all. All right? It's not a true statement. Look at your student. I know. The people on the ground helped us out tremendously for this. I'd like to start off, though, with Glenda Brown and her team. They did a fantastic job. These folks, as everybody's pointed out, we had many changes in our EVAs and the number of EVAs we could do on this mission. And they had to keep, for every one of these scenarios, had to keep a plan together of what we were going to do on each EVA, write out the whole procedure for each one of those, and also then keep the logistics square on where all our tools and all our EVA suits and all that stuff are at all the times. And so they had probably 3 or 4, maybe even 5 plans going at the same time. And it just, they had to work overtime to get all this stuff done. It was just an amazing job that they put in, and they made it all possible for us. I'd also like to thank, let's give them a round of applause. I'd also like to thank the folks at the NBL. They were fantastic for us. Again, without them, we couldn't do any of this. It takes that training there at the NBL to make it work for a spacewalk. They have the divers out there that gave us support. Every time we went out there, they were fantastic. We have the tools folks who had all the tools there when we needed it, and the suit folks who made it easy for us to get in our suits and out of our suits and gave us all the stuff we needed out there. Again, it was a fantastic job by all those folks. And lastly, I'd like to thank my family and friends too, especially my wife, married, daughter Caroline, and son Quinn, and Caroline from the entire crew. Thank you for the patch. And here's Ricky.
I'm going to start off by thanking my family while I'm sitting here looking at them. Eloise, Carrie, and Jessica, thanks so much for your support and for being there. I think it's pretty fair to say that everyone on the stage is probably sitting here, and a lot of you folks who work out at NASA, because of the images sent back. The images of the moon, I think, shaped all of us as kids. And we took the responsibility for gathering those images for everyone very seriously. We had great training. Our training team was very supportive. They were setting up sims late at night and early in the morning and making sure we had all the training we needed. We had outstanding procedures. None of us are really photographers, have photography as a hobby. So if we get any great pictures, it's completely due to the training and to the excellent procedures that were written. If you don't like our pictures, it's not because of those guys, it's because we're evidently untrainable.